Most people think being gifted means getting straight A's or solving math problems faster than anyone else. But psychology says giftedness is something deeper. It's not just about intelligence, it's about how your brain processes the world. And often, gifted people don't even realize they're gifted. They feel different, intense, or misunderstood. But those feelings, they're signs. I had a client once, let's call her Mira. She always felt too much, too curious, too sensitive, too intense. She thought something was wrong with her. But when she started learning about giftedness, everything clicked. Her deep thinking, her emotional depth, her constant need to understand, it wasn't a flaw. It was a gift. Today, we're breaking down the signs of giftedness that most people miss. These aren't just traits. They're patterns, and if you recognize them, you might be gifted in ways you never knew. Let's start with the first sign, intense curiosity. Gifted people don't just ask questions, they chase them. They want to know how things work, why people behave the way they do, what's behind the surface. They don't settle for simple answers. If you've ever stayed up all night researching a random topic or asked why 5 times in a row, that's not being annoying. That's gifted curiosity. Second, emotional depth. Gifted people feel things deeply. They cry during movies, get overwhelmed by beauty, and feel other people's pain like it's their own. This isn't weakness, it's sensitivity. And sensitivity is a sign of high emotional intelligence. If you've ever felt like you care too much, you might be gifted. Third, rapid learning. Gifted minds absorb information fast. They connect dots others don't see. They pick up new skills quickly, often without formal training. If you've ever taught yourself something in a few hours that took others weeks, that's not luck. That's cognitive speed. Fourth, perfectionism. This one's tricky. Gifted people often hold themselves to impossible standards. They want things done right, or not at all. They get frustrated when their work doesn't match their vision. If you've ever quit a project because it wasn't perfect, that's not laziness. That's gifted intensity. Fifth, existential questioning. Gifted minds don't just think, they reflect. They ask big questions. What's the meaning of life? Why do people suffer? What's my purpose these aren't just late night thoughts. They're signs of deep philosophical thinking. If you've ever felt like you think too much, you might be gifted. Sixth, asynchronous development. This means your mental age doesn't match your emotional or physical age. You might be 15 but think like a 30-year-old, or be 40 and still feel emotionally raw. Gifted people often feel out of sync. If you've ever felt older or younger than your peers, that's a clue. Seventh, strong sense of justice. Gifted people care deeply about fairness. They speak up when something feels wrong. They fight for others. They get upset when rules are broken or people are mistreated. If you've ever been called too intense about fairness, that's not a flaw. That's gifted empathy. Eighth, vivid imagination. Gifted minds create worlds. They daydream, invent stories, and visualize complex ideas. They often escape into their own thoughts. If you've ever built entire scenarios in your head or imagined conversations before they happen, that's not weird. That's creative giftedness. Ninth, sensitivity to sensory input. Bright lights, loud sounds, strong smells, they can feel overwhelming. Gifted people often have heightened sensory awareness. If you've ever felt drained by crowded places or needed quiet to think, that's not being dramatic. That's neurological sensitivity. 10th, boredom with routine. Gifted minds crave challenge. They get bored easily with repetition. They want novelty, complexity, and stimulation. If you've ever struggled in school because it felt too slow or jumped from job to job looking for meaning, that's not restlessness. That's gifted drive. But here's the twist. Giftedness isn't always easy. It can feel isolating. You might feel misunderstood, too intense, or out of place. You might mask your traits to fit in, but the truth is, giftedness isn't about being better. It's about being wired differently. And once you understand that, everything changes. If you recognize these signs, don't ignore them. Explore them. Giftedness isn't a label. It's a lens. It helps you understand your strengths, your struggles, and your story. Most people will hear this and move on, but if you're still here, you're already shifting. You're already choosing clarity. Subscribe to the Inner Shift. Every week, we break down the psychology truths that help you think better, live deeper, and grow faster, because giftedness isn't rare. It's just rarely understood.